And I'm gonna blow your mind here. It's actually quite simple. You're gonna go, oh, geez, I knew that. How did I not just know that? Why do people happily pay up to $30,000 for a moose hunt, for a guided moose hunt, but they never think about buying a $30,000 jet boat and hunting themselves in Alaska? 10 days, one and done, 30 grand is gone. The canoe is a good strategy, and hold on to that strategy, because in my main course, I show you where that makes this upgraded version even better. But in the long game, let me ask you guys something. What if I told you, why do people happily pay up to $30,000 for a moose hunt, for a guided moose hunt, but they never think about buying a $30,000 jet boat and hunting themselves in Alaska? If you get guided for a moose hunt, it's going to be up to $30,000, up to $45,000 for some places. The average cost is between $27,000 and $45,000 now, and that's for 10 days of hunting. And you're not even guaranteed a 60-inch bull moose. 10 days, one and done, 30 grand is gone. Why is that so easy to accept? But why not buy a jet boat for $30,000 and own it and go hunt yourself DIY and just find some good places to go? Hunt year after year on your own. Well, actually, wouldn't be on your own. I don't recommend hunting on your own at all. But you're going to split that cost. Why not bring a couple buddies on board, going on it, 2 ways, 3 ways? Why not? And you can hunt anywhere you want. You're not limited to bush flights. You're not limited to the guides telling you to take the shot because the bull's legal or barely legal at 50 inches. And you get to pioneer Alaska yourself. How about that? How do you do that? How do you do that? I'm talking about non-residents here. As a resident, I already know how to do this. I'm going to give you some food for thought here. No Alaska resident pays $3,500 to go on a moose hunt, and they do it every year. But non-residents somehow in their head think that you got to spend 30 grand to go on a moose hunt. And I get it. If you got the money and you don't want to hassle, it's going to cost you 30 grand. But again, if you buy a boat, you can hunt as many times as you want. You're not stuck with one guide or one location or one flight in or one flight out. You could actually, in one hunting season, take your boat and go from one spot that looks good to another spot that looks good to another spot that looks good, or that you feel is good, or your intel tells you it's good, or someone's told you it's good. That's how you do it if you're a non-resident. Now, how you do that year after year after year with a boat in Alaska, maybe even a truck, for sure. How you do that, that's in my big course that I give on how to hunt Alaska under $3,500 or around $3,500, even less, actually, when it's all said and done. And it's like, if you're a fly fisherman and you love to tie your flies, you get a lot of gratitude about catching rainbow trout with the fly that you tied. Or how about the fly rod that you built and the fly that you tied? The gratification is much better, much more fulfilling than just having someone take you out. I've done it. I've paid for guides before. They take you out. They have the lure on there already, and they just tell you to drop the line. Yeah, you catch fish. But when you can do it yourself with your own boat, it's 10 times more gratifying. When I first learned this concept, I had moved to Fairbanks, or I should say I was forced to Fairbanks because I worked for the Alaska Railroad and I was low in seniority, and they forced me to Fairbanks. And I was low in seniority because what that really does mean is you're not making a lot of money, and you're low in seniority. So the big money jobs are in town, and the low money jobs are in Fairbanks, or forced to Fairbanks, and they would force people to Fairbanks. And I was there, and I'm a hunter. I love to hunt, and learning how to hunt, where to go. And I learned about, with some scouting, I found an area pretty quickly, actually. And I went and drove to the top of this mountain, and I took spotting scopes, and I looked down below on the lakes and stuff below, and I saw moose, lots of moose. And I could see the lake and the slough, and then I knew that off to the distance was a river. And I did some research on that, and I got a canoe. I bought a canoe, and it cost me $300. And I looked, as of yesterday, on Fairbanks Free or for Sale, and you can buy a transom mount canoe for $300. Even today, it's a Coleman. And I have and own Coleman canoes, or one canoe, and I've had it forever. But back then I didn't have enough money, so then I got a little kicker motor for it. A 10-horse kicker motor is sufficient for a canoe.
Well, folks, if you found this information informative and would like to know more about how to hunt Alaska for under $3,500, the link is down below in the bio and over in the comment section. It's a 3-day course, an hour and a half long, where I go over the exact steps that you need to know from the second you arrive to the boats that you need to use, or even the contingency plans you need to have, and set yourself up where you can revisit Alaska. Here's a little tip for you. No Alaska resident spends $3,500 on any hunt in Alaska. I know the strategy. I'm here to teach it to you. We go over Google Maps. I'll show you how to make a KMZ file and a KML file on Google Maps that you can download and take with you, share with your friends, strategize how this works before you actually show up in Alaska. This information is not found anywhere else, and especially not on social media or YouTube. This is a one-of-a-kind course by me. No one else is teaching this. I've been a resident of Alaska for over 30 years, a federally licensed Alaska bush pilot with my own plane. I've owned and still have many different boats, from ocean boats to jet boats. I know exactly how to do this, and I want to teach you all to do it and bypass the traditional systems of transporters and air taxi services. Their pricing has gone stupid silly and is over the roof now. It's time for an alternative way to hunt Alaska. And by the way, that's just called getting back to basics. I look forward to seeing you in my next live 3-day course. The link is down below in my bio, and it's also in the comment section. I look forward to seeing you there. Gonna have a good time. And if that's not enough, join the Elite Hunter Strategy Group, where I go over information on a weekly basis live for 1 hour. You get to ask me questions there each week. It's just me. I put up camp and got a fire going. Life's pretty good. I'm excited. I seen a big bull in the valley. I'm in moose camp. How cool is that, huh? Well, stay tuned.
And I went on a solo moose hunt by looking at the maps back then. And I went down into the area. I looked at the Fish and Game regulations, and it was legal for me to go on a hunt in that region. And so basically, and I was a resident at the time, so basically I bought a canoe for $300. I bought a motor for $1,500. I'm into it $1,800. My first moose I ever killed, I was by myself on a solo moose hunt. It cost me $1,800 for the canoe setup. I already had a truck because I lived there, and the license was $45. The tag was free for residents for a moose hunt. So yeah, I beat $3,500 in the pants at $1,800, and I put some gas in. You got to throw some gas into that. Let's just say it was one fill up. I filled my truck up, and 5 gallons of gas for the outboard motor, and and about $150 in food at the most. And I went on a weekend hunt in Alaska, killed a nice bull moose, and I did good. I did really good. It was my very first bull moose. That was under $2,000, and I got to own the canoe, and I owned the motor, and kept them for many, many years hunting with those. Even eventually after I upgraded two bigger boats. On that hunt, I was, it was quite a lengthy hunt. It took me a better part of half a day. Well, it took me a full day to actually get into the area, drive into the area with my truck, offload, and it was my first time there. And I actually had to look at my maps back then. I didn't have Onyx, I didn't have any of that. Got into the area where I'd seen the moose swimming across the lakes, and they swam like beavers, believe it or not. And it was really, really cool to do that. And it was something like very special happened. I found this little island out there that was a small little, maybe a third of an acre, and it was about 8 feet off of the water, off the swamp water, and I camped on that. And in the morning, I woke up to moose cow calling, and there was a couple moose on that little itty bitty island that I was on. I mean, a third of an acre, and it was a little island, and the rest was marsh. I mean, I looked like I was ducks everywhere, trumpeter swans, and I hunted that, and I called in a bull moose, and he came up to me, and I had my bow and I had my rifle, and he came up, and it was a little bit too dark to see if he had 4 brow tines, and I wasn't good enough to see if he had 50, but by golly, with the spot and scope at about 100 yards, believe it or not, he finally sniffed the air, and I could see 4 distinct brow tines kicking up, and I pulled the rifle out, and I shot him. Because I didn't know if I can get him in any closer with the bow, and I was limited on time to be back to work that Monday. And I took the shot and got him, and I went over there and processed that bull by myself, and I came back, and that was one heck of a hunt that I thoroughly enjoyed. So yeah, this breaks the myth that you have to be rich to hunt Alaska. And the only difference between that back in 2000-ish and now is the fuel cost has gone up, and food pricing has gone up, and hunting licenses have gone up. And if you're a resident, you don't get a free tag. You got to buy $140 some hunting license and an $800 moose tag. So you're $950 right there. And then another $900 round trip flights. For booking flights, you're looking at between $900 and $1,200 for round trip to Alaska. So all in all, I mean, you're really getting into some pretty good pricing at that point. Well, let's do the cost breakdown. Okay, airfare, $700 to $1,200. That really is what it is. I mean, if you go, depends on how you do it, who you go through, and it depends on how locked in you need to be with your seats. Quite often, I would actually suggest buying the insurance, even though it's kind of a rip off if you don't need it. But you can change your flight times. You're not going to mess things up if you get weathered in or weathered out, which is another good point. If you're going with a transporter or guide service and weather is an issue every year, you could be stuck in moose camp and not be able to get out to get to your flights. With a canoe, it doesn't matter what the weather's doing. You drive down the road, you put your canoe in, you go hunt. It doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing. You process the moose, you put it in the canoe or boat, and you go back to the truck. Doesn't matter what the weather's doing. You're not stuck in weathered in days, so you're not going to have any weather problems. Weather is not going to be an issue. So your commercial flight's not going to be an issue. So I'm going to back up and say maybe you don't need that, travel insurance. But and then food for 10 days is about $300. But that's if you eat better than most hunters do in camp. I mean, you can spend more if you want. Or you can go all mountain house, which is probably even more expensive, or mother's choice or something like that. And you seriously, I mean, that's pretty cheap to do that. So you're 900 to 1,200 round trip airfare. You're $800 for a moose tag. You're $145 for hunting license and your 300 and some bucks for food. I mean, you could buy top ramen and bring nothing but water, and you're going to be in it for food will be under 50 bucks for you. So that's how that works. So if you're coming from out of town and you're going to need to buy or rent a U-Haul, that could be what you need to do. Rent a U-Haul. You're looking at $500. And you know, you pulling up to the pump, you're gonna probably gonna need to put a fill up in it. If you're hunting it with a canoe, it's not gonna be near as much gas. You just gotta pay by the day for the U-Haul. You got to.
I hope this information has resonated with you and that you have found value in this video clip. Keep in mind that this is part of my Elite Hunter Strategy Group that we go over every single week. And this was last week's episode. And now you get to see what's in the Elite Hunter Strategy Group. In the Elite Hunter Strategy Group, we have a group of people that come in once a week and they ask me questions live. Well, I go over a list of topics that needs to be talked about and addressed. In the live presentation, which is an hour long, once a week, I will answer your questions about what you most desperately need to know, and as well as going over a checklist of topics and rules and regulations and how to hunt. If this resonates with you and you want to be a part of this group, you can click the link down below or over in the comment section. I know exactly how to do this, and I want to teach you all to do it and bypass the traditional systems of transporters and air taxi services. The link is down below in my bio, and it's also in the comment section.
It's pretty good. I'm excited. I seen a big bull in the valley. Man, a bear's been through camp today.
I mean, at this point in time, after you buy, you know, a canoe, and which is about $300, and you're going to be getting a motor. It's about $1,500, and you can go more expensive for newer, up to $2,500, or even cheaper if you go with an older boat motor. I don't recommend older boat motors. Keep in mind, you're going into the wilderness of Alaska, and if you're going downriver, you've got to have a reliable motor to bring you back upriver, and you need to do all the math on the river flows. If the river's flowing faster than your motor can push your canoe with 700 pounds of moose meat, skull, and hide, and you and your gear, you're not going to be able to get back upriver. So you want to keep that in mind, and prepare for that, in case that was if you don't understand the river flow. I go over that in my course as well. So you're going to be looking at about $4,400 at this point in time. But I understand. But Troy, you said you can hunt Alaska moose hunt under $3,500. Yeah, I know, and bear with me. Okay, I know I said 3,500. I'm getting there. Bear with me. You're not going to go hunt alone, right? I mean, and if you do, I don't recommend it. Don't hunt alone. And this whole $3,500 obviously isn't what I'm talking about is a solo hunt. This isn't a solo hunt. But okay, I was off by $500 at $4,400. So, I mean, think about that. And you're going on a moose hunt, and you go in and you get a big bull moose, and you come back out, and you still own the canoe, and you still own the motor. You didn't just give it away like the $30,000 guided moose hunt was going to cost you. How can you compare $4,400 to $30,000? You cannot. I mean, there is a price to play. You got to pay to play. You got to pay something to play. And at $4,400, I have proved it on my hunt that you can, on hunts that I've done, that you can do it. I've done it. I couldn't afford a $30,000 boat back then. But I could afford a canoe. And that brings up a couple more thoughts in my mind, and that's safety. Just because you buy a canoe that floats and a motor, you can't hit every river, or a lot of the rivers in Alaska, and you need to be good enough to handle a canoe. They do flip over, so you have to know where you can hunt with a canoe. And there's a lot of places you can hunt with a canoe. And there's a ton of rivers that aren't. They're like bayous. They're super slow, they're like marshes and stuff. It's like being down in the bayou. Literally, it's like being down in the bayou of Florida. So you can handle a canoe quite easily in the bayous of Florida. You just got to watch out for gators. And in Alaska, I guess you're looking, it's all about land animals and bears. But I did it, and you can do it too. And it's absolutely possible in today's day and I did the pricing on it today. I looked up the boats and canoes yesterday. Today is August 15th, 2025. And right now it's, 9:51 a.m. in the morning. How about that? So, and I proved it right now today. You can hunt this year for $4,400. Ha! But I have a twist that I'm going to throw in here. What if I told you the most expensive gear in your hunt could actually put money back into your pocket? That's right. And actually could make you money after the hunt. Probably haven't thought about that. And I'm going to blow your mind here. It's actually quite simple. You're going to go, oh, geez, I knew that. How did I not just know that? Well, everything that I'm teaching you right now, everything that we're going over right now, it's a mentality of being a resident no matter where you're at. So I'm going to introduce to you the partner principle and the buy and sell principle. It's very simple. That's the idea. So I'm telling you, or I'm recommending do not hunt alone. So bring a buddy in on this. Everyone's going to have a hunting partner. It's always more fun with a hunting partner. The only reason why I went solo is because I had a job and my buddies were working on my days off, and I was working on their days off. So I had to do it solo, and I brought a sat phone. I brought, the inReach. I brought all the safety stuff with me in case I needed help. And I love doing that because I it's just a peace of mind. I mean, Alaska is huge. It's humongous. Alaska's huge, and it's amazing how diverse the countryside can be. It's one terrain in one area is much different than in another area. You go from deserts up in the North Slope, and it's like a desert practically. It's not sandy, but it's rocky, no trees. You sweat your butt off at noon, and you're freezing cold in the evening, and you wake up to frost on the leaves in the morning. That's hunting up north. In central Alaska, around Fairbanks, you can sweat your butt off all day long. It's marshy, tons of trees, mountains, hills, all of it. Fast water, slow water. You get more southern in the state, and you get a lot of giant mountains, big trees, fast moving water. And it's just kind of how that works. Well, if you brought a partner in, you would split the cost of the canoe, you'd split the cost of the motor, you'd split the cost of food, and you would split the cost of gas money. You'd split the cost of the rental of the U-Haul. Now, where are we at now? Where are we at now? We're really good shape. I mean, do the math on that, okay? So you're not going to hunt alone. Split the cost for that. The motor, the fuel, the U-Haul, and the food costs with your hunting partner. So, you're still going to be over when it's all said and done. In reality, you're going to be at about $6,500 with buying the canoe and the motor, not $44,000. But once you split those costs, you're going to be back down to about $4,400. It's still over 35. Yeah, I lied to you. It's going to be about 44, but it depends on how good a deal you get on the canoe and how good a deal you get on the motor, or how much you upgrade to newer canoes and a newer motor. Which, if you're going to do one or the other, upgrade to a newer motor. Okay, that motor's got to work. As long as the canoe doesn't have a hole in it, or you don't put a hole in it, that motor's going to get you back, and it's going to work. And you need to make sure it's going to work. Maybe even take the time to take it into a dealership and see if they got moment to go through it. If you can buy it in advance from a dealership, have them do a tune-up on it, guarantee, and they'll do a guaranteed run-up on the motor. That's the best you can possibly do. Or find one that's for sale and say, can you take it down to the local boat shop for me? Here, give them my name. I'll call them, give them my credit card. Have that motor tuned up, proven to work, and signed by a licensed dealership, and that guarantees your safety in the field, getting in and getting back out of the field. You don't want to be stranded in the middle of nowhere and waiting for a rescue. All right, that's huge advice I can give you, and I can't begin to tell you countless times when I had an old motor break down on me, and we were stuck downriver. It sucked, but I'm not done yet. Here comes the twist. Once the hunt's over, sell the canoe and sell the motor. And I have that broke down into my main big course, how to hunt Alaska under 3,500, how to do that while not living in Alaska. I've done it. I even do it to this day. It's quite simple. And so now where you're at, you're under $3,500. Like I told you, you're under $3,500. So I wasn't lying to you at all. I'm kind of teasing you, and I haven't even begun to show you the big game of my 3-day course going over how this all works. Some of you have seen, some of you have been to the courses, and you guys are going to be watching this in the replay section of our monthly program, and you're going to laugh because you already know it. But some of what I'm saying now is going to go out to the internet to educate people. So there's going to be a little bit of this going out, but the biggest part of this takeaway is going to be kept with the group here at the Elite Hunter Strategy Group here within Tundra Mentor. All right.
I hope this information has resonated with you and that you have found value in this video clip. Keep in mind that this is part of my Elite Hunter Strategy Group that we go over every single week. And this was last week's episode. And now you get to see what's in the Elite Hunter Strategy Group. In the Elite Hunter Strategy Group, we have a group of people that come in once a week and they ask me questions live. Well, I go over a list of topics that needs to be talked about and addressed. In the live presentation, which is an hour long, once a week, I will answer your questions about what you most desperately need to know, and as well as going over a checklist of topics and rules and regulations and how to hunt. If this resonates with you and you want to be a part of this group, you can click the link down below or over in the comment section. I know exactly how to do this, and I want to teach you all to do it and bypass the traditional systems of transporters and air taxi services. The link is down below in my bio, and it's also in the comment section.
It's pretty good. I'm excited. I seen a big bull in the valley. Man, a bear's been through camp today.
All right. Where are we at here? So in the long game of doing this whole process, for those of you who have deeper pockets, I highly recommend that the canoe is a good strategy, and hold on to that strategy, because in my main course, I show you where that makes this upgraded version even better. But in the long game, let's take this. You take that $30,000 that you were going to spend on a guided moose hunt, and you buy a jet boat with it. And you can hunt every single year for $30,000, for the one price of 30 grand. So instead of blowing 30 grand for a 10-day moose hunt and that money's gone forever, you buy that boat for $30,000, hunt 5 to 10 years, sell that boat for no less than half price of what you originally paid for it. You're at $15,000. But you don't need to do that by yourself. Remember the partner principle and the split half the cost principle? So your buddy spends 15, you spend 15, you're joint owner of a boat, you split the fuel, you split the food, and And then, you know, you're going to probably, and you can either rent a vehicle or you can buy a vehicle as well, in Alaska, keep them both in Alaska. And I have that, how to do that precisely and cheaper than people that actually live in Alaska. You can do this, keep a vehicle and a boat in Alaska cheaper than the residents can do it. This is no bullshit. This is real. And I'm going to prove it to you. I do prove it to you in my big 3-day course that I have, and I actually give them probably around once a month. Just depends on how what I'm doing, if I'm busy. But if you haven't gone into those classes or courses yet, you want to get into it. It's worth every penny. It'll save you $20,000 a year. That's kind of how that breaks down. I mean, it's about how much how big a pocket you got, how much you want to spend, how comfortable do you want to be. I've bought almost every hunting boat you can get in Alaska, from ocean boats to jet boats to mud boats to the canoes. I've bought them all and I've used them all. And there's certain boats for certain rivers and certain applications. And we get into that on the big course as well. But, and that's going to be the bonus edition of my next course, is going to be what boats to get, and why, and what works best for this application and not this application. And if you're going to hunt this way, you want to get this boat, and why, why you want a mud motor versus a jet motor, or vice versa, or a prop, why you would go with a prop or not go with a prop. I've done them all. I've owned them all. That's in my bonus edition of the next course. And it probably might be just a standalone course too here at Tundra Mentor. You can buy, with this setup, you can buy whatever boat motor you want, whatever canoe, go as cheap as you want, go as expensive as you want. The bottom line is this: if you were to go guiding, if you got guided every single year for 10 years, $300,000. You buy a boat one time for $30,000. Split that cost with a buddy. Split all costs with a buddy. And you're hunting, you know, for about $50,000 for 10 years versus $300,000. And you can go cheaper or you can go more expensive than that. It just saved you $250,000. I saved you. And there's no doubt, there's the math. You can do it too. You can see it easy. And, you know, I pulled up the boat prices on Fairbanks Free or For Sale Facebook. And there's boats right now, the cost of those boats right now. And you don't need an expensive boat. You don't need a $30,000 boat. To be honest with you, to get it done, you only need about a $7,000 to $15,000 boat. You know, like a John boat with a nice motor on it. It already comes on a trailer, and you can hunt every year just fine with that application. You don't need a $30,000 boat at all. So cut those prices in half down to about about 10 grand is going to get you a primo. 10 to 15 is going to get you a primo boat, moose hunting, killing machine boat that you and a couple other hunters can go hunt in, and you can split the cost 3 ways. Split the cost of that boat 3 ways, and fuel and everything else. And again, I mean, 10 years for under 50 grand, and that's split 3 ways. Are you kidding me? So what you would normally cost you 300 grand to go hunting with a guide for the next 10 years is going to cost you $25,000. And here's the kicker. After 10 years, you don't want to hunt anymore. Sell the boat. Sell the truck. Sell all the gear. You're going to get back at least half the money you put into it. At least. You sell everything for half price. And that's a bargain at half price. I've owned boats and owned them for 10 years, and I got more, like 3/4 of my cost back on it, because there's good boats. I took care of them. I mean, this is really the cheapest way to hunt Alaska, and how you keep a boat in a truck and store it in Alaska is in my big courses. And it's pretty easy to figure out how to do that. And I mean, this should be blowing your mind for those that haven't taken the course. Those that have taken the course, it blew their mind. And for those that are going to be rewatching this, that are in my monthly training programs, or in this monthly Elite Hunter Strategy Group, where I come on every single Friday at 9:30 a.m. and bring in new information about Alaska and hunting Alaska and everything Alaska every single week. Mind blowing. This should blow your mind. I've done it. I've proved it. I've lived it. And this is how it is. This is the way it works.
Cool.
Would you recommend this course to anybody else?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
I'm gonna make my boys watch it or do it with you. So
Excellent. All right, guys. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Been
Yeah.
a real pleasure, and I'll talk to you all later. Call when
Thank you.
you want to talk more.
Yes, sir.
Thanks,
Take care.
All right,
Take
thanks.
care.
It's just me. I put up camp and got a fire going. Life's pretty good. I'm excited. I seen a big bull in the valley. I'm in moose camp. How cool is that, huh? Well, stay tuned.